just want to give a quick overview on the German theorist, Erich Fromm. Erich Fromm was born on March 23rd, 1900, and he died on March 18th, 1980. He was known as a German-American social psychologist and a humanistic philosopher. Erich Fromm describes his life as highly neurotic. His father was a very stern businessman, and his mother was often depressed throughout his life. Accompanied with that are two other events that he attributes to his desire to want to learn more about group settings. One event was when a family friend, whom was a very talented artist, decided to commit suicide after she lost her father. The other event was the event of World War I, where at an early age of 14 he was able to witness high levels of nationalism. Now these events, like I already forestated, developed a strong interest in the behavior of groups that he wanted to learn more about. He studied sociology at the University of Heidelberg, earning his doctorate degree in 1922. He began studying psychoanalysis at the University of Frankfurt in 1924 and later moved to Berlin Institute of Psychoanalysis. Fromm maintained numerous teaching positions. He published a number of books, and he ran his own clinical practice. He also helped found the Frankfurt Psychoanalytic Institute, where he lectured from 1929 to 1932. He has some very interesting contributions to psychology. Fromm's theory is a mixture of Sigmund Freud as well as Karl Marx theory, which emphasized the unconscious and the biological repression. Freud postulated that our characters were determined by biology, whereas Marx, on the other hand, saw people as determined by their society and especially their economic systems. He added in this mixture the idealism of freedom. He suggests that freedom is difficult to attain, and when we tend to seem to have it, we tend to flee from it. He suggests three ways that we flee from freedom. One is through authoritarianism. We seek to avoid freedom by fusing ourselves to others. Now there's two ways that he suggests that's done. The first way is when one submits to the power of others, becoming passive and compliant. And on the other hand, the second one is when one becomes the authority figure and begins to implement structure. Either way, he suggests you escape your separate identity. In other words, your identity is still not yet developing or forming because you have fled from the freedom that you gained. Another thing that he suggests in terms of fleeing from freedom is one called destructiveness. Authoritarians respond to a painful existence by in a sense eliminating themselves. Now this seems to suggest that if I'm no longer in the picture, no one can longer hurt me. Now the third way is through a process called automaton conformity. And that is authoritarians escape by hiding within the authoritative hierarchy. This suggests that if I look like, talk like, think like, and feel like everyone else in society, then I can fade off into the crowd and not be noticed. This person, in a sense, is somewhat of a social chameleon. He takes on the coloring of his surroundings. Fromm believes that whatever escapes from freedom you tend to use is highly predicated on your family upbringing. So what he did, he outlined two types of unproductive families. The first one is symbiotic families. And the symbiotic family is when some of the family members begin to swallow up the other family members, where their personalities don't truly fully develop. One example of that is when the parent swallows up the child, and the child's personality never truly develops because they take on the persona or the personality of the parent. Another extreme example is when the child swallows up the parent, and the parent desire is to live for the child, so whatever the child wants, the parent becomes. The second type of unproductive family Fromm suggests is called the withdrawing family. This is where the parent is very demanding of their children, and the child is expected to live up to high-level structured standards. Now, when the child doesn't attain the level or standard, the parent begins to withdraw socially or emotionally from the child. So, in an effort to maintain the social affection or the emotional affection, the child does everything possible to succeed in whatever success is labeled in their society. Now, Fromm further asserts that through social unconsciousness, families mostly reflect their society and culture. He also believes that our social unconsciousness is best understood by examining our economic system. So in doing so, he defines 5 personality types. The first one is receptive orientation. The second is exploitive orientation. Thirdly, hoarding orientation. Fourthly, marketing orientation. And fifthly, a productive orientation. Fromm believes that the human being needs to find answers to their existence, and in doing so, he also devises 5 human needs in order to reach the point where we understand our purpose. He said that we are to seek, that we need relatedness, creativity, rootedness, a sense of identity, and a frame of orientation. I've just given you an overview of Erich Fromm theory, and I thank you for listening.